There it is, computer. All right. Shows you how long it's been. Well, welcome everyone, and excited to have everyone on this evening, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do two things. We're going to have some testimonies about the medallions because there's a lot of things that happened since the last time I had one of these meetings, and including the fact that, and Dean, you'll get a big kick out of this, because Dean's kind of been with me on the medallions with a couple other folks from the very beginning, that we're finding out just with the regular set that people with that have certain heart arrhythmias, the arrhythmias are either improving greatly or going completely away when they have the medallions on. The Lord never told me any of that. Not that he needed to, but what that tells me is that a lot of the current heart arrhythmias, like atrial fibrillation and certain other things, have to have an electromagnetic frequency component. Now, I'm going to give a couple of examples. My wife, Laura, I don't know when it was, maybe about 6-7 years ago, all of a sudden said, man, my heart doesn't feel right. And it was like, 180 beats a minute. And that was when we still lived in Louisville, Kentucky, but she only had it a couple of times. So, the doctor's got to catch you in it or it doesn't happen, right? So anyway, we moved here to South Alabama and she starts having them more frequently. And finally, at one point, she was having them 3 times a week. Well, that's really concerning because then you got to lay down and you've got to be on blood thinners and all that. Well, they eventually did an ablation surgery, which to this point has been successful. So, we appreciate doctors for being able to do that kind of thing. However, in the 4.5 months between when she first put on her medallions and when she went in for her ablation surgery, she didn't have one AFib attack, not one. And then Rachel, her dad, she was able to get him the energy medallion, and he only had about a week to go before his ablation surgery, but he was staying in AFib. And if I heard her right, he said that not long after he put that on, he went out of AFib for the first time in a long time. So that's incredible. So those are, gosh, I hope this doesn't happen. I'm going to have to switch to water instead of coffee.
You heard me right.
Was that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Now, what I didn't hear, though, is his surgery was successful, though.
Yes.
Excuse me, guys. Stephanie and I weren't even that close to each other. Those of you who know Stephanie, we live only about a half an hour apart. So she teases me that I gave it to her and I tease her that she gave it to me, but we really didn't even come into contact. So isn't this handy? Okay. So then something else happened that was really interesting. And I hope I'm going to be able to make it through this. So y'all pray for me. Let me see if I can get this, because I tried to figure out how to get rid of that screen. Let me see if I can do this right. Okay, this is my sheet where I do the spiritual assessment. That particular sheet is where we find out how you're doing in your realms. If you're a knower, seer, feeler, hearer, what percentage of the Father's voice is your voice? How close are you walking with Jesus? All those kinds of things. Recently, we discovered that when we did testing, for instance, some of you may recall, that's not it, let me find it. And this is going to be harder to do, but I'm going to see if I can do this just right. This is our Mazzaroth. Okay, you say, well, what is the Mazzaroth? Well, the Mazzaroth is the stars and the planets and everything in the skies the way that God designed them, not through astrology. Well, when I test most people, they're somewhere on a scale of 0 to 100. They're somewhere usually between 5 and 15, in which I found myself first because I'm testing myself, which is, I'm going to use, you won't see me do it, but I have this simple method of muscle testing that I can do on myself and for other people when nobody else is around. And by the way, if you want to see how I actually do it, I'm going to have a session at the conference in July, and I'm going to show people how I actually test the meridian system and come up with the things that I come up with. So if you happen to be there, you'll be able to see that. Okay. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, hey, I think on the Mazarov one, I was like 5% connected. And I thought, well, okay, maybe if it bumps me up to 15 or 20, I'll be happy. It bumped me up to 95%. I went, wow, okay, well, what about the 12 stones? Okay, so I don't know if it was that Giardella lady or who it was, but somebody said that we have 12 stones inside of us. And I thought, well, that's kind of like the ephod.
Right.
And here's the ephod. It's got the 12 stones for the tribes of Israel. Well, this is going to make a great recording, Mark, with me coughing every 30 seconds. So I think I was 15% on that one. And I thought, well, okay, if it raises me to 20 or 25, great. 90%. You say, well, what's the significance of that? Those of us who are engaging kingdom obviously know that our intention and what we're trying to do in an engagement is critical. We're first of all trying to understand that we can live in both realms at the same time. So it first starts with us knowing that that's a possibility, and then we have to go. It takes time. We got to stretch, and different things happen, and layers have to go away, and the way reality attaches to our physical mind has to be changed so that we have a more spiritual mind, so to speak, because the scripture says, this mind have in you the mind of Christ. Okay, so that's what we want. We want it to overwrite the natural 3D thinking that we have. And so if I'm praying for someone, if I'm engaging heaven in some way and I need an answer, that's when you put the ephod on. But there's something called hydroacoustics. Hydroacoustics basically means that both our cells and the water in the tissues in our cells have a crystalline nature. Okay. And you all know what resonance is, the tuning fork that you go ping, and then you go and listen to the guitar on the stage and you hear the C chord and it's humming because it's resonating back and forth, back and forth. Well, we are designed, even after the fall, in the second Adam, we're designed to resonate with heaven. Now, we got to lock that in because that's a really big deal. And it's probably one of the biggest statements that I'll ever make in my life. We are designed in the second Adam, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to resonate with heaven on every level that heaven wants to resonate with us on. Okay. You say, well, why medallions? I don't know. Until October, I didn't even know anything about it. All of a sudden, the Lord says, well, you need some help. So you want to do a specific thing, you put the ephod on. You want to engage in government, you put the Mazarov on. And then I'm at my workbench and I'm out of the blue, I hear, you need to make one for basically cracking the code of 3D reality. I went, what? What did you just say? You got to understand, because the Lord and I have a great conversation. What? Well, then 3 weeks later, Fiorella has a release on unlocking 3D reality. Well, here's unlocking 3D reality. And there's a little paper on the backside that names it because a lot of them look kind of the same. Do I have any idea what that means right now? No. But if you put this on,
different levels.
It takes you from 5%, 15%, 20%.
Wow.
Into the 90s. So as Dr. Ron writes another book on cracking or, cracking the code of 3D reality or whatever, and this is on and you get how to do it, it's clearing the frequencies. That's really what these are doing. They're clearing the frequencies. So some of them do block EMFs tremendously. Well, then the other day, now was somebody wanting to say something, or am I just hearing chatter in the background? Okay. So the other day, I said, Lord, some of us that are knowers, we sure would like to see a little bit better. Because there's a lot of us that are knowers, right? And or feelers or hearers. And so I had forgotten that I had actually made a seer medallion. And I was going through my big box of all these prototypes and I went, seer, wait a minute. So I looked up, I had written it down, thankfully. And so this may be one of the prettiest ones. I don't think it's going to show as nice as it looks in person, but this is it right here. Okay. So I put this, I forgot to take it off one night. Oh my goodness. All I did was dream stuff that was like high level. And I say this lovingly, but it was kind of creepy in some ways, but not in a bad way, because it was like, I don't know if I really want to hear all this stuff now that I open my big mouth. And it's like, I'm seeing all this stuff and knowing and seeing what's over here and over there. Honestly, I'm as surprised as anyone, but we now have, based on the sheet, and whoever's been praying for me, thank you, because it's getting a little better here. I have little asterisks on the test sheet. And here are the areas that we now have medallions to help your engagement experiences. They are the quantum emotional realm, the quantum heart realm, which is a really big deal. And if you were in my class, I taught on that. Okay. That's what we actually can scan everything with, is with our heart realm. Okay. We have the Mazzaroth alignment, the 12 stones alignment. How about the fire of God? So I realized that I didn't have anything for God's fire. And I thought, well, they're all clear. I'm going to make this blue because I think God's holy fire is blue. At least some of it is. So I made this one. And without the little tag on the back, they're actually much prettier than that. But then I'm listening to Dan Duvall and he's talking about RK and different things. And I thought, well, Lord, could I make, because I can't make one for every single one because, nobody's going to buy like 50 of these things. It'd be too expensive because you all don't even want to know what some of these cost me to make even. So I was able to come up with one that is, you can engage light is one of them. Creative essence. That's the essence of material that we can speak to and it becomes something solid. And then the arche. Now the arche though can also be what we were before we came here. Ooh, did I say that out loud? Oh no. Okay, here's this one. Okay. Now you see that little stone in the middle? That's called a terahertz stone. I don't use a terahertz stone on everything, everybody. But when I do, it magnifies whatever the other crystals are doing significantly. That's why the simple energy medallion works so well. Now, you say, well, why sounds like a big commercial for what you're doing. Well, it's a commercial for God because I wouldn't be doing any of this if he hadn't shown me how to do it. Okay. But the fact that it clears our realms as we're working on things and going through our realms. And we now know that we have 6 realms that affect us and converge right in the area of our physical heart. 6 realms that we know of right now. And those realms are, I said some of them, the quantum essence realm, the heavenly light realm, glory, and fire. Now, I've got one last one to show you, and then we're going to have a couple testimonies because I want to hear what Dean's been up to, especially because some of the stuff that just the stuff he was doing was just amazing. This is the one that I'm selling just barely above my cost at the conference in July. And it's called Engaging Heavenly Glory. And it's got gold speckles in the background. And you can't really see how pretty it is because of that little tag. But again, if I didn't have the tag. So all those things are going to be available then. They're actually available now. Yesterday, I made broke the bank, but I made about 25 Maseroths. And the Maseroths actually have two 6mm across rubies in it and real sapphire. And so you can see why they're not cheap. But here's the good news. There's a lot of folks out there that they're selling different things, including energy medallions, but they fizzle out. Okay. They also sell patches. They last for a day or a week or whatever, and you got to keep buying them. You buy any one of these, and unless you bust it, it's lifetime. All you have to do is once a month, set it out in the sun and it recharges it. Okay. So once you buy whatever it is you need, you've got them forever. And if one of your grandkids or somebody pulls and takes the little ring out of it, you go down to Hobby Lobby and get 12mm jump rings and bend them and put them right back in place and put it back on your silver necklace. And I had one guy one time that you'll get a big kick out of this. I don't know that he was really complaining, but I'm spending all the money to put the stones together, right? So I just buy these cheap little necklaces so you can wear it. But the understanding is go buy a nice silver necklace or two and switch them back and forth, because you really don't want to wear more than two at a time anyway, right? Okay. Well, he was complaining that his broke. I said, well, don't you have a silver necklace around? I mean, I have like 20. Some of us that are old enough remember Mr. T. Well, I have almost as many as Mr. T. They're not gold, they're silver, but I switched them all out to that. That's just to help y'all out and get you started, okay? So that's the exciting news about the fact that we went from having just 2 engagement medallions to 9. And those great testimonies that we've had that have, and I'm trying to think, there was one that somebody gave me that didn't relate to the heart. It was something else, and it just left my mind from, it'll probably come back later. But it was like I was shocked when I heard what this person was saying. And I know what it was. It had to do with the testing. And I'll give this person's testimony form. So this is slightly unrelated. So many of you know that in the 4 spiritual testing sheets, one of the things that we can test is if you have any Masonic background, even if it's 10 generations ago. Well, there was one lady, and I said, 3 generations ago, there was some Masonic activity, and then I'm able to test and find out which of the 33 levels that she needs to do the repentance prayers for. Okay. She said, I have no idea. I'll check. She gets back with me and she says, Dr. Rodich, you are not going to believe this, but our great grandfather, who passed away in his mid-40s, we found a picture of him, and you're not going to believe what he had on in the picture. The full Masonic regalia, the apron, all that stuff. And I nailed it. Now, I nailed it because I'm using the voice print, and it's not wrong. It's like taking a lie detector test, okay? But she didn't even know. Now, how amazing is that? That's the kind of stuff that we're all operating in, folks. It's very, very exciting. And so we're going to have a few testimonies. Dean, I'm real interested to see the last time that we had been in touch. You had been in a fire prayer line, and the Lord was actually showing you things about folks that were coming in with great clarity. So could you share a little bit more of maybe some of the things the Lord's done?
Have not been in a fire tunnel line like that since. Still on prayer team. But I can tell you this. I'm starting to see, I've started to hear heaven better. And there's been a time or two where I have not taken my medallion with me. And I know that when I forget it, it's like I'm de-energized, if that's the proper term. So I'm aware that I forgot it. It's like, oh snap, I forgot it. I wish I had it here because I function at a certain level with the medallion. I carry it in my pocket. I don't wear them around my neck. But so it's
Whoops.
definitely I definitely know. I'm probably gonna get a silver chain.
Awesome. Well, okay, so let's be clear about something. There's no magic in any of these. The majority of the church would already be sweating, thinking about writing articles 50 miles long about how we're new age and all this kind of garbage. They're simple crystals. They're not dedicated to any God other than the living God who, when the Holy Spirit hovered over creation, put him in the ground. Okay? So we're taking back what we're supposed to have had all along, but thanks to our distant relatives, Adam and Eve, you know, they kind of messed things up. Well, the enemy knew about this stuff. He's been taking and stealing from us from day one. And so we're taking it back. But here's an interesting thing that's kind of related. I am from the generation that, you know, when I was, 10, 11, 12, all my uncles were still alive. Two of my, how many did I have? 4, 5 uncles served in World War II, and my dad and 2 of my other uncles in the Korean War. But I remember reading an article about how they needed some trackers, I believe both in the Asian Pacific platform as well as in Europe. And so they got a bunch of American Indians who were expert trackers, but they cut their hair off and they couldn't track. Now, isn't that interesting? So they let their hair grow back and they could track. Well, come to find out, the hair was acting as an antenna, and that's all it was doing. And they could track again. So how interesting. So anyone else with the testimony? Now, if some of you don't have any, talk to Rachel. She's the one that buys them for everybody, right? But anything y'all want to say before I start doing some testing? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was just going to say we got a couple of the medallions, and we've been trying them out. I did find that when I put the night one on, I did feel an instant sort of like calming of my spirit. I also found that what was the other one we found? I'm a fan of Arthur Burke, and he sort of talks about there are emotions in your soul and there are emotions in your spirit, and that they're different. Like in your soul, you might have sadness, but in your spirit, there is grief, and grief can be a really deep spirit thing that comes out of you. And so what I was noticing was that when I put on I think it was the day one, I was finding that it wasn't an emotional change that was going on. I was sensing changes in my spirit. And having worked, doing personal advocacy and having to access that part a lot, I understood what it was. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. But I was noticing a lot of spiritual changes that were going on, revelations that were coming to me that were on that level of the spirit, not that level of the soul. So yeah, but there was an immediate change in that as I put it on. I've not sort of taken them off. So, making sure I just change them over as we do. But we're finding that, yeah, they are, it is accessing certain things that we weren't able to understand before.
And really what it's doing is it's clearing the air.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And when I find when I'm helping, because I'm a junior advocate, when I'm doing personal sessions, I'll put the Mazareth one, I understand is for governing, or if you're governing in the courts of heaven. So I'll wear that one. And I do feel there's definitely a greater awareness of understanding what's going on in the court when I'm there for someone else. So yeah, I think we're still working on understanding what each different one does. And we've only ever done one at a time. So I don't know, if
Can you double up?
can you wear two at a time? We've just kind of kept one at a time.
Yeah,
and-
I mean, I would say that you can. I mean, at some point, I mean, I wouldn't want to wear like 4 or 5 at the same time. I'll tell you one thing. Now, this is the energy one here. Let's see if I can get it to where it's.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Let me. I have to be right behind it. I told you I tried to get this off and I couldn't. Okay, so that's the black one. They come in
Okay,
black,
yep.
dark blue, and gold. Okay.
Okay.
If you forget to take that off, you may sleep
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours a night.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
asked, so finally I said, well, why? You would think that if it's all this good stuff, and I said, is it really giving us energy? And he said, well, in a way it does, but it's clarifying your realm so dramatically that all the stuff that normally wears you down isn't taking place, and you don't need the sleep.
Right.
And I went, oh my goodness, that makes sense. So, but I will tell you, I do have a couple of new ones that I'm going to kind of premiere in July. One of them is weight assist, and it really does help. It's going to clarify any frequencies that could be messing with people that create a situation where your cells don't want to respond properly. But it's not going to solve the problem if you're eating Shoney's double fudge brownie cake 5 times a week and 8 or 10 Starbucks drinks that are that tall loaded with sugar. You still got to do your due diligence. And the other one that I made, and my wife wears it, and she said, oh my gosh, like the first night she noticed a difference, is I made a sleep medallion, but I made it black with the same material to block the EMFs. And she said it's just giving her phenomenal sleep. And so, those are the kinds of things that obviously that we can do. But please, if you hear anything that I say and you order the less expensive set, one's for relaxing, one's for energy during the day, take the energy one off by about 6 in the afternoon, because you will be up half the night. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have discovered that, so we will verify that.
will-
It's come to the point where we set the alarm. Hey, remember, take them off at this time. Otherwise, we're not going to bed tonight.
I did have a very good friend of mine the other day who it said, oh, that's an interesting, necklace you've got on there. What's that all about? And I had to say to, I'll get back to you on that one. So I'm trying to find a diplomatic way of introducing a topic that's not going to freak him out, but tells him exactly what it is.
Yeah. And yeah, I know I'm having trouble a little bit myself, but I know my heart's in the right place. So go ahead, Leslie.
Okay. So Rachel did bless me with 3. My ephod fell off while I was out shopping, so I have no idea where it is. But the jump ring was open. So anyway, it fell off. But this one, so I have the energy and the light for night. Light for night. It's on a short chain so that I can sleep with it, not, getting me all over the place. And this one can go over my head and I can take it off easily. And I hang it on the lamp right beside my bed. And I have been sleeping 4 and 5 hours a night for quite some time, maybe since I got them. And I don't know, but guess what? I don't care if I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night because I have plenty of energy to do what I need to do. And I have the freedom, being self-employed, to nap if I need a nap. So here's the whole thing on the practical side of actually having energy to do stuff. I went through a huge season of loss. My mother died, my sister died, my business died, my husband's business died, my mother-in-law my father-in-law died in 2012. My daddy died in 2014. So Kyle went to his mother's house, which is 3.5 hours away, to care for her. I went through a season of about a year where I would walk through my workroom and go sit on the couch and watch TV. I'd walk through the workroom and go upstairs and sit on my bed and watch TV for a year. And I could not work. I couldn't do anything. So I've been coming out of that, receiving healing, finally learning that I can grieve and I'm allowed to grieve. And I had thought, because of the Christian teaching, we don't grieve as those who are lost. And so I didn't know how to grieve, and I didn't know how to let myself grieve. So I learned how to do that. And it was like freeing, to be able to actually grieve all of that loss that I had, because I didn't think that I was supposed to. So every time it would come up, I'd just shove it back down. So this is really helping me. I have been not only just doing drapery work and making flags and making stabs, I've also been going out in my yard and pruning until I have huge blisters on my fingers. And, just having and pulling weeds, which I absolutely adore doing because I think it's very, spiritual. I'll come pull your weeds and I'll come your weeds because I love to pull weeds. So just want to say that. And I don't take it off until I get in bed because who cares?
Well, the interesting thing is that I would have thought by not sleeping when I first discovered what was going on, that it really was just doing so many things energetically speaking, that I would be tired during the day, but I wasn't. I wasn't having the normal fatigue that, okay, I slept 5 hours last night, then at the night before, so I'm a zombie. No, I wasn't a zombie. It was like I would wake up rested. In fact, sometimes even when they're out in the garage, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and it'll just be a fine time to pray. I'll be completely wide awake, but it's different than before. That's the only thing that I can say. It's not the same. So
Exactly.
even when it's time to maybe go back and catch a couple more hours before the sun comes up, it's still very productive. And just like my day today, normally, and I shouldn't say this, but it'll be because it'll be forever on YouTube. But Thursday is our neighborhood golf day. And so today's Thursday. So I thought, okay, great. I get to play golf. Beautiful day here, 71 degrees, just a little bit of wind. I get there and they're all in Destin, Florida, 2.5 hours away. And the 8 or 9 guys that still live locally that don't go, none of them showed up. So I said, yeah, I'm going to go home and work. I got as much work done today as I normally get in about 3 days.
Come on.
I mean, now, I'm not going to say it's just the medallions, but it's the fact that the medallions are clarifying our realms so that when they converge and they're properly changing information, we're becoming more efficient because we're hearing the Holy Spirit, which has been speaking to us all along, but with clarity now. So we're just getting stuff done. And that's what makes this thing so cool. I mean, in a million years, if I would have written a novel, I couldn't have done it this nice. So we just give glory to God. Rachel, go ahead.
I was going to say, just to finish off, I normally get up at 3:00. I'm getting up at 1:30 to 2:30, and I go to bed at 9. So,
you're getting a lot done then. Amen. Go ahead, Rachel.
Okay, so I just wanted to confirm what Mark was saying. My spirit was confirming that, Mark, as you were speaking. So I just wanted to share that. It was very excited and doing some backflips. So there's a couple things. The rest one, so Lisby and I, we are on a very late, like all-nighter type meeting where we just hang out with Jesus until all the hours of the morning on Thursdays. We'll be doing that after this. And so the next day I will wear the rest medallion and I will not feel like I had an all-nighter at all whatsoever. It will just be like a normal day, and I'll just wear the rest one all day. And I like, even to the point where sometimes, like, if you didn't sleep and your voice gets kind of hoarse because like you didn't sleep and it's like you were out all night, right? Even like screaming and yelling and your voice is hoarse. Well, not that we scream and yell in that meeting, we do worship a little, but sometimes just from being exhausted, your voice will do that. And mine does if I don't wear the medallion. But if I wear it, the rest one, during the day, after I didn't sleep, I don't have any kind of like it's like a normal day, just like I got all the sleep that I needed. I will wear the rest one all day long and at night, and it doesn't put me to sleep during the day. I think I started because we are learning how to operate from rest. So I wanted to do that. And then the other thing that I wanted to just share was that the Lord, I was asking the Lord why. Okay, so I'll wear a couple of them like at a time, and I was asking the Lord, well, why is it that when I first receive it, it's very strong. Like I'm a feeler, so I'll feel it. And I'm like, okay, so I'll wear it for a little while and then I don't feel it anymore, but I know it's still there, it's still operating. But why don't I feel it anymore? And the Lord was saying, because it's a filter, like you were saying, your realms are being clarified. I'm getting used to having my realms clarified. So it's like you don't feel it or notice it because it's like your new normal.
Yes.
And then when I take it off, I don't know, like I don't necessarily notice that I don't have it on. Like some people were saying they notice that it's not there. I actually think it sticks with me for a while, which I'm curious, like when you do the voice test, if it's going to actually give you accurate results, because I've been wearing them and I took them off for the test, but I'm not sure if it's gonna, because I feel like it still sticks with you. My friend, she was wearing the ephod. She wore it for 5 minutes and she had results from it for like a whole week afterwards. And I was like, she just had favor, like for a whole week after wearing it for 5 minutes. So, and then the other thing I wanted to share was there's one, what do you call it? Like specialty medallion that you made, Doc, that is, I think you said for the heart. That is like experimental or something. I'm not sure if that's on your list to sell or whatever, but my son, he absolutely wanted to wear that one. Ben, he's 10. And he sees, I think he classifies as a seer. He wanted to wear that one, and I was like, okay, well, it makes sense. His nickname's Big Hearted Ben because he prays for the whole world. And and so I was like, makes sense, he wants the heart one, right? Like I guess like on a like just like physical level or whatever. And then he didn't want to. I was like, can I wear that? I'm going to do some prayer work. I'm going to put it on and I'll give it back to you. You're going to be sleeping anyway. You don't need it. And he was like, he didn't want to give it back. And I was like, all right, bud, you're going to have to tell me what's going on. Like, why don't you want to give it back to me? I'll give it. He's like, can this be mine? He wanted his name on it, basically. He's like, can this one be mine? Can I have it? Can I own it? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll get a new one from Doc. Like, so I was like, but why? Like, but why? You have to tell me why. I'm trying to gather data, right? So, and he didn't have words. He was like, I can't tell you. And I was like, no, you're not allowed to have secrets. You got to tell me what's going on. And he was like, no, Mom. He just didn't have a grid to like share with me. And he was really struggling with the words. So like I was pulling it out of him. And what he ended up saying was, when he has it on, he's always felt like he's been watched, and he couldn't see or put it like see what it was or why or who, but he knew they were there. He could feel it. But he's a seer, but he couldn't see this. He felt it, but when he wears the heart one, it's gone. The other thing he said was he does see some things that are always there watching him, something different. And it's like he couldn't put a place on it or a realm or a who, what, where, when, but he described it like a tree with eyes. And he said that's also gone. So two things he never told me, he never shared with me that he had. And I'm not even sure if he knew that they were there until he put the medallion on and then they were gone. I think that might be what, like
Wow.
he knew the presence was always there, but he didn't realize it shouldn't always be there until he put it on. So I just wanted to share that, like he hasn't really, so he did get a Maseroth after that, and a special one that Doc made turquoise for him, and he hasn't taken that one off either. And he said they basically do the same thing, but in different realms.
Yeah, okay, because one is governmental. What you're talking about, actually, I do have them for heart arrhythmia, but that's not what he had. This is the quantum heart one. Okay, so the quantum
Yes.
heart, and I may do a teaching on it and release it on YouTube, but the quantum heart realm, we can extend about 10 feet out of our body. Okay. It's where everything converges, body, soul, spirit, all the other realms, right in the place of our physical heart. Okay. But we can scan with our quantum heart. We can, let's say somebody at church comes up and they says, hey, I want to be your friend. And, you probably would say, yeah, well, sure. Let's get to know each other. Let's go have, some tacos or something. And you get home, you learn to extend your quantum heart field, and all of a sudden you realize that they're involved in witchcraft and they're trying to sabotage everything that you're doing. That's what you use your quantum heart realm for. Maybe you've got 3 job possibilities. Okay. Extend the quantum heart realm, because remember, now you're not just balanced in yourself. You're connecting with heaven on levels that we probably don't even understand yet. And all of a sudden heaven comes down and says, okay, the middle one, it's okay money, but what you don't realize is that's the one that heaven has for you. And then after you're there a year, you're going to get a promotion and you're going to make 5 times what you would have made in any other job. See, that's the kind of thing that the quantum heart realm helps us with, and other things that I'm sure that I don't even have a clue with yet. But now I will say one other thing. We have a pain one. Now, none of these, it's not like, okay, I put the pain one in my pocket and the kidney stone pain went away. No, it didn't work like that, okay? Kidney stone pain is really, really bad. Let me just tell you that. But here's what happened. My brother-in-law, who is a brilliant individual, my wife's brother, the stuff that he's worked on through the years, computer-wise and stuff, is so far beyond me that I can't even imagine. And he understood perfectly what I was doing. And he said, hey, can you make one for migraines? And I did. Then I made one for pain. Well, he tried them both and he found out that the pain one worked better for migraines than even the migraine one did. And he was having 3 knockdown, drag out migraines a week where he was almost non-functional. He said his shoulders would just tense up on him like incredibly. And he said he's down now to where he's having 1 a week, and all it takes is an Aleve or a Tylenol, and he's almost normal. Now, it took him about a month to 6 weeks to get there. But who can make this stuff up? I mean, it's incredible. Incredible. All right. Anyone else before we move into the testing phase? We're going to give you 20 times.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming that this would be good for children with autism. Which one would that be?
Okay, well, I actually have made one for autism. I mean, I have a bunch of things that are kind of in my pilot, so to speak, drawer, but I don't have autism, so here's how I do what I do. I have spent thousands, and I mean multiple thousands of dollars buying real gemstones. And I have over 100. And I test and I say, okay, Holy Spirit, you know how I test. I want you to show me the ones that are going to work for whatever the topic is. And I have to test every single one. It takes hours. Most of the time I end up with between 6 and 12. Then I try to arrange them in such a way. And sometimes I use a terahertz stone. Well, we know that for autism, that this one, which is the PM one or the evening one, works. But I do have one specific to autism. Autism would be like EMFs on steroids. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that it's going to help, but it's going to be residual. And again, let's not forget, once a month, set them out in the sun, because they're filtering your energy through these, and they are going to be like a plugged furnace filter if you don't recharge them in the sun. Okay, so that could be one reason why, Rachel, possibly that maybe you lost a little bit of the edge on them.
No, I recharge them.
Okay, well then you didn't.
It's not,
Okay.
it wasn't, no, the
Okay.
Lord was just saying that I'm getting accustomed to it. But so what you were saying about the heart, it being the heart realm, and that's why, so you're saying it's like a shield, like his heart realm is getting extended out further? Is that what you were saying?
Okay, so in reality, okay, you know how when New Agers say, I can read your auras, and they do all that stuff. Well, friends, I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be shocking, but if they're seeing chakras on you, you're still connected to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We don't have chakras. We have energy fields if we're believers. Okay. The main energy bubble that we walk in is our heart, our quantum heart realm. Okay. That's the big one. We just didn't know that it did a bunch of other stuff. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm really counting on everybody, and I've appreciated so many testimonies getting back to me, because we're still discovering what these things do. All right, well, who wants to be first? Now let me lay some ground rules here.
I think Di had a question, Lisby's mom.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
It's not a complete question, but one of the things I've been exposed to is that water is a storage medium for frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been using some floral frequency drops that are stored in water. They're activated in water, and you put a few drops of the water in your drink. I'm taking care of my mother-in-law with Alzheimer's, and she was really struggling with a lot with anger and violence and didn't know how to manage it. And so I had a ND make a prescription blend of flower frequency in water that then really helped her with controlling her emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But Seneca, I don't know her, Freedom Flowers, I think, is her website. She does gem frequencies in water as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, see,
the
that's
water
called hydroacoustics.
Right, which is what you started with, right?
Right. And what we do is we distill our own water. We filter it first, then we distill it, then we add back the drops. But then we take the terahertz wand and we charge it with terahertz frequencies, and then it's able to, through osmosis, to go into our cells in its proper crystalline form. Right. And so what you're doing, I mean, but what you're doing is another way to do it.
So what I was responding to Rachel was, it's quite likely that if you've been wearing this frequency modulator for a period of time, that your fluids in your body have begun to store those frequencies, and they won't let go of them just Johnny on the spot when you take it off.
Wonderful point. Absolutely. I think you're right down the line on that. Super. Yes. But that's, and see, the goal is that we finally start storing heaven to the point where people can't even stand up when we walk by. Wait a minute, that happened in the book of Acts.
Holy hankins.
Are you lining up to be the first tester, or do you want to share more? Okay, you're lining up. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Obviously, I test a lot of stuff. My primary focus is to find nutritional deficiencies. Are you low on vitamin A, vitamin D, whatever? That's what I normally do. Okay. But in the process, you learn a few things about things. So what we're limiting it to tonight is, you could say to me, I have low energy. Well, there could be 20 different things that cause low energy, but we would try to trace through some of them and give you an idea. Maybe it's your adrenal glands, maybe it's parasites, whatever. I will be doing that. But we're going to limit it to one topic, okay? So if you say my blood pressure's high, well, I know because I've been doing this for over 30 years now, it can be one of about 4 or 5 things. So I will test and find out what combination of those that it is, okay? And so otherwise, I'd be shooting myself in the foot if I did a $250 full workup for you. Well, wait a minute, you're low on vitamin D, you're low on this, you've got parasites. But if in the one item, parasites are part of the picture, everybody, I hope you take notes. I'll tell you the couple of things that can be used that I think are very effective and relatively inexpensive. Because Stephanie has a friend somewhere that had her do this parasite cleanse. He gave it to her, but it was like $800. Well, that's like 3 car payments for me. So, you know, I ain't spending $800 to do parasites. So, okay, Dean, go ahead.
Okay. I still work. We've just finished our last remodel on rental property, and I seem to wear out fairly quick after several hours of working.
Okay.
Get
So
good sleep, good
Go ahead.
vitamins, supplements, parasite cleanse, stuff like that. So I think I'm relatively healthy.
Are you doing anything for your adrenal glands?
Yes,
What are you taking?
the solar ray that you told me to take 2 years ago.
How many are you taking a day?
3.
Okay, up that to 4.
Okay.
Are you taking 1 ashwagandha?
No, need to order some. I'll be ordering some soon.
Okay, so you need to. So I would go 2 and 2.
Okay.
Because it is your adrenal glands. Now the adrenal glands are funny. I'm going to tell everybody up front. I've been dealing with mine for 30 years. It's like, unless heaven shows us how to heal them, but you can manage it. Okay. But the thing about adrenals, if you don't stay at the perfect level for the nutrition, even if you're 1 pill short, they can go south pretty quick. That's what's really unfortunate about the adrenal glands. So let me just make sure there's nothing else that shows up here. No, the parasites are a 10. So no, yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to go 4 of the adrenal caps. And if solar ray is ever a little short or you can't find them, Dr. Christopher's adrenal compound, or however they say it, composite stuff, are just as good. And as long as you can handle cayenne pepper, because he put cayenne pepper in everything. So, but it would be the same amount. So that, yeah, that's going to be it. And the thing about adrenals too, if you can get a buffered vitamin C at 1,000 milligrams a day, and take that, don't get like, you know, the other kinds of vitamin C because they trash your gut and everything, but like a buffered or estered vitamin C, that is going to be helpful. And, but if you have a day where you're feeling a lull, maybe it's been a little extra stressful and stuff like that, you could bump the 4 up to 6 if you had to. It's not going to, like, you know, short circuit anything or anything like that. Your adrenal glands would be very happy. In fact, you might even sleep better because of it. But so I stay fluid in that. You know, I take anywhere from 2 to as many 6 a day, depending on the day. So,
okay.
Thank you, Dean. Pamela.
So is this the time to tell you what I want?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm my brain. It's my brain. I don't know. I'm not getting things like I used to. I'm not like the short term things are slipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So just off the top, how many know that if we can this isn't your situation, but this is for everybody, especially, and it is also a good help with people that have dementia and Alzheimer's. You can get a couple tablespoons of coconut oil down somebody. It passes the blood-brain barrier, and it can greatly improve their cognitive abilities. Now, the only side effect might be is it might make it a little easier to go to the bathroom, but that is a huge one, okay? And some people need that, so. Okay, so give me a moment here. I'm not going to show you how I do the little personal muscle test with my fingers, so you'll have to just trust me on that.
I already know
Okay, so.
that your muscle testing.
Okay, so for instance, your heart energy should be a 12. Most things are 10, but it should be a 12. It's a 1. I test for adrenals. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 thyroid tests, and those are all okay. But if you're taking Synthroid, it would fool me. You don't really have much plaquing or anything like that going on, but your brain is not holding a charge. Your brain should be pulsing at 16, which is the cerebellum back here, and it's pulsing at a 2. Okay, so there's a product from a company called Standard Process. It's called RNA, ribonucleic acid, RNA. You need 6 a day, so 3 for breakfast and 3 for maybe mid-afternoon. Now, they're not cheap, but there's only a handful of companies that make really good RNA. And so what's happening to you is that your body is not creating the raw nutrients for your brain to be able to hold an electrical charge that then in turn makes everything else happen. And since it's happening here, it's affecting your ability to hold on to things. So
It feels like there's a grip around my head, like there's a grip, like a vice around my head. And like my eyes feel like they're at half mast, like that, like there's pressure in my head, but I don't have a headache.
right. Well, now again, when we use nutrition, now this is very specific nutrition, and there's hardly anything more high powered than Standard Process or biotics. But RNA at 6 a day, give it about a month. And if you really want to, I don't know if you're in the journaling class or not, but if you really will journal what your symptoms are and then journal just that, and you look 6 weeks from now, I'll bet you'll see about a 50% improvement. But that 6 is not, okay, so like if somebody had MS, MD, Lou Gehrig's disease, they might need like 20 or 25 or 30 a day. 6 is kind of just a nice maintenance dose. Actually, I have RNA, and most days I will take 2 to 3 just because it's one of about 4 or 5 nutrients that most people miss, and it really helps me stay way sharper. But you need 6. So I hope that's a blessing to you, and keep it. And you'll see me on the Zooms and stuff. So send me a little chat message a few weeks down the road and let me know how you're doing.
Thank you.
Leslie?
Okay, so my daughter had gone to a naturopath doctor who did muscle testing. And so she suggested that I go. This was 3 years ago. And so I went, and I told her that I was really struggling losing weight. I knew how to lose weight, but it just wasn't working. So she did muscle testing, put me on digestive GB, thyroid 2, B complex, lemon balm, zinc, and iodine and vitamin D. So I've been taking those for 2 years, and I've lost 70 pounds. And I have maintained the weight loss for I'm kind of plateauing. And I'd like to lose another 30 before I let my body decide what it wants to weigh, which could be between here and there, but not any higher. This is as heavy as I want to be. This is,
Okay,
I'd be
so
content if I could stay here.
okay, so a couple of thoughts. Now, I am not a dietitian, so
Right.
let's throw all the disclaimers out that we can, okay? But the diet where everybody just eats meat and fat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that for a year and I lost 50 pounds and I switched over to Hilton Head where it's grains, meat, vegetables, fruit,
Right.
and
Well, what I'm saying is that that's a good one to jumpstart your system, but don't stay on it forever.
right.
Because what happened to me yeah, I lost the weight. I only needed to lose about 8 pounds, and I ended up losing about 18. And then one day, my left leg went into a muscle cramp that wouldn't come out, and I said, "Okay, I'm done. I'm going back to keto."
Right.
And 3 days later, I'm fine. So
Yeah.
so you have to know what you're doing when you're looking at diet. Okay, so now anything that has to do with iodine, if you're presently taking it, it's probably going to fool me. So I'm not going to be able to test your thyroid, okay? But I
Right.
can test the other things.
Okay.
What is she doing for your adrenal glands?
I don't know if we did anything for the adrenal. My gallbladder was in trauma.
Okay.
There was lots about my poor gallbladder. So we did that and the thyroid too, and B complex. So I don't know if any of those address the adrenal.
Okay, so your weight index number is a 7. We want, if you're a 10, you're normal. Then it's got to be Shoney's, okay, or Krispy Kreme. So
Yeah.
I'm just being real, okay.
I don't eat any of that stuff. I don't eat
I know.
any sugar. I'm a good
Okay.
girl for 2
So-
years now.
So it's a 7, but when we fix the adrenal glands, it goes to a 9. I don't know where the 10 is yet, but so you need 3 adrenal complex capsules of some kind and 1 ashwagandha a day. Okay,
How do you
that's
spell ashwagandha?
ASHWAGANDHA.
I can
Oh,
send you the Amazon links, Leslie.
thank
I have
you.
those.
And actually, that's one of 2 really hard words that I know how to spell. The rest I don't. But
Right.
ashwagandha and diatomaceous earth, I actually can spell.
I'm telling you, right?
I have 2 PhDs and I can't spell, but those 2 I forced myself. So, all right. So you want 3 of the caps, maybe 2 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, ashwagandha early on, and make sure you're wearing your medallions. And if you have to, bolt them to your silver chains, don't lose any more, please.
Right. What I
Okay.
did was I took because I do jewelry, and I made the loop a triangle. So I bent it inside because it has to spring to go through that thickness. It springs the metal so much that it doesn't actually close. And so I shaped it more like this so that the junction is
So it wouldn't be
inside
as much pressure on it. That makes sense. Cool.
yeah. So that might help. I mean, because I've been making
Well,
jewelry for a
I don't
while.
have enough time to do more than the circles, believe me.
I get it.
I mean, I thank God for the energy medallions, because without them, I would not be able to manufacture all of the ones that I've had to manufacture. So,
I know. Thank you.
Sherry, what is your pleasure?
Hello. Well, it's very similar. I don't even know what to say. So I started doing keto. I was trying to drop the COVID 20. In my case, it was like a COVID 40, plus I was already overweight. And so I dropped 40 pounds on keto, fairly consistent, stable, steady, nothing super fast. And then I plateaued. And then the Father literally walked me right out of a lifelong nicotine addiction, and I just didn't even think twice, and I didn't gain any weight. So that's been about a year now. But I kind of just got discouraged and dropped keto for like a couple of months, and now I'm like, oh, but I still need to lose more. But I am having like my nails are not tearing, but they're scrapey, they're weak, and my mouth is having issues trying to heal from the smoking, like it's just bleeding and my gums. And so I know I'm lacking in lots of things, but but I don't really know what to do.
Okay, so let's do the weight, the weight situation. Your weight index, which should be a 10, is a 3. Okay.
Wow, okay.
Okay. So there are certain things that I test for to see if they're having a direct bearing. Because, for instance, somebody could be loaded with parasites, but hey, they might be helping you, because they're munching the food so you lose weight, right? So, why mess with the parasites? I'm saying that tongue in cheek, of course. But in your case, your heart energy pulse should be a 12. It's a 1. Okay.
Oh,
But I tested your adrenals. They're fine. Now, they could show up later on once your body starts kicking in with more energy. I checked all 4 thyroid ones, but your cerebellum, just like with Pamela, but you need 3 RNA a day. Now, what's interesting is it made the weight index jump from a 3 to a 10.
okay,
So,
say that again. What was
okay, the
that?
weight index, okay, RNA, it's standard process is the name of the company, ribonucleic acid, RNA.
Yeah.
You need 3 a day. And once your brain kicks in and your body starts holding a charge, then there's going to be energy for your heart to be more vibrant, your kidneys to work better, your digestive system to work better. And when that happens, it should be easier to work through the things that you're already doing, and they will work better.
Gotcha.
Now, the fact that it's 3 shows me that it's not a big deal, but it's one of those things that most other people would never catch.
Is that one of those cerebellum should be pulsing out of something, but it's
It
only
should be
pulsing
pulsing at a 16 and yours pulsed at a 1.
Ooh. All right.
Okay.
So, but if I fix that, then the heart will go from 1 to something higher?
It goes to 12,
Okay.
which is normal. So, but here's why this isn't a 5-minute fix. Okay, so imagine you have a car that runs on 87 octane, but the guy at the gas station has been putting just enough water in it that it's been running at 85. So your car, it's just not quite running right, but it's still got enough octane in it so that you can get down the road. You take it into the mechanic says, I can't find anything wrong. Well, it's because you're only 2 points off. But it's not as efficient as it would be. The flash point to make the pistons go crazy and get you down the road aren't happening. That's exactly what's happening with the cerebellum. Okay. So if you maybe needed 6, 8, 10 a day, I could say, are you having trouble with short-term memory? But hey, I've had trouble with my short-term memory since I was 15. I'd walk into the other room and want a snack, and then I'd walk away with a snack, but it wasn't the one that I thought I wanted, so whatever. So no big deal. But try that for a while and give it a couple of months. But then the things that when they start kicking in, it should work better. Now, is this going to solve every problem? Well, no. I mean, if you have parasites, one thing I can tell you that if your heart energy is deficient because of the 6 or 7 things that contribute to it, you're not going to digest food properly. And when you don't digest food properly, it gets stored in ways that it shouldn't be stored. You just don't have enough energy to do it internally. Doesn't matter how good you feel. Doesn't matter how smart you are and sharp you are. It's still things are slowing down, and that's what RNA for you will boost you up.
Okay, and which of the medallions would help?
Okay, so you would want the basic set.
Okay.
And they're on my website.
Yeah.
And it's the energy and the either rest or PM or whatever. I've just started calling them AM and PM because it's less typing and I don't wear my label maker out anymore.
So can I just tell you something really interesting? The example that you used about the car and the gas. So we have a gas station on a native reserve that is right beside my house. And there's also a Costco there, but Costco's always super lined up. But the reserve gas is just as cheap until you find out that, like, most of the natives that live on the reserve don't even want to use that gas because they say it's watered down. So I did not know this, and I have been using that gas for a couple of years now. And my lovely German Volkswagen threw a code, and the code was, hey, you got some choky emissions going on here. You're kind of blocked up in cylinder 1. And so I Googled the code, and there's 3 fixes. One's a filter, and one's a one of these, and one's a pump. And it's like, and they're progressively more expensive. And so I still don't go get it fixed right away because just finances. And now it's like really choking to the point where it's stalling. And now I have to like book it in. And I'm like, okay, whatever is going on with my car, I just paralleled it with my body, and you just used the same example.
Well,
Isn't
you
that
know,
fun?
you could start by boosting some with some high-powered gas additive.
Like an octane booster. So is that what the RNA kind of
Well, gosh,
functions
my
like?
mind. What's the name of the company? Maybe some of the guys, even the gals, might know. That used to make the stuff. If you needed 6 quarts of oil, you'd buy 1 quart of this stuff because, like, even if the drain plug went out, the engine still wouldn't burn up. Remember what the name of that stuff was? It's made in Indiana somewhere. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Well, anyway, that same company makes this. It's not really an octane booster. It's stuff you put in the gas tank to clean the engine out.
Right.
But there's one version. Well, there's one thing called seafoam. You can dump that in the tank, but you're only supposed to drive it for about 25 miles, and then you know,
Flush it.
you flush it. So you don't want to have to flush all that stuff, so you can do that with oil, but get the one that goes slowly in the gas tank and then does that. Okay. And I think Seafoam has a gas additive too. That's the name of the company for that one, but it'll come to me the other one. I haven't thought about it in forever.
There's a product called Heat, HEAT.
That takes
that you
water
can
out.
Yeah, it gets water out of the gas tank. So it might be I think you're talking about the pink stuff, but I don't remember what the brand is, the oil additive
Yeah,
stuff.
the oil additive. It's the company. They're in Indiana, and they supposedly made this stuff that, I don't know, one of the NASCAR drivers put it in his engine and then drained it out and still ran for like 500 miles with no oil in.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff, but it's the same company. So, okay.
So
Ms.
thank you. I
Grace,
get health advice and car advice.
here you go. Well,
all in one package.
see, I'm old enough to remember when we could work on cars. Now I can't.
Oh, I know.
You can't
I
get
know.
into them and find anything. So I gave up.
That's why I had to go read the code and figure out which thing it is, and then go YouTube somebody who knows stuff, and
That's
blah, blah,
right.
blah.
Thank God for YouTube that way. Miss Grace, what you got?
Hey, Dr. Rodish, this is fun. So the Lord is doing absolute miracles within me. And I would say that I've had such a transformation in my being in the past, like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months. And I've been a meditator for about 40 years. So that's as a prelogue to, I naturally get up at 3 a.m. I love that time. That's my prayer time. And, it's wonderful. But late, and just my way of being, I can say my mind is at rest. I don't have, all that stuff going on in my mind. But lately I've been getting up at 1 o'clock. That's a bit too much. And I'm also working on diet and losing weight, which seems to be slow. So there's just kind of a little bit of too much slowness that's happening, so, yeah.
Well, we know that a lot of people today, and it has to do, I think, with the food additives, which we need to be very, very careful of, or
Well,
develop.
except though, all my food is organic. I
No, I
don't,
understand.
yeah.
but somehow, some way, it could be electromagnetic frequencies. I don't care how people get there, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are suffering from insulin resistance today. That is not an easy nut to crack. Let me just say that, but it's something that we can work on if that would be the case.
So, and I don't do any sugar.
Well, and that's probably why you're going to live a long time, but you want to live a long time with a good quality of life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, you know, for instance, even though I've had these sniffles for the last 3 weeks, compared to what I would have been 20 or 30 years ago, I would have been a basket case for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Okay. I've hardly felt bad. It's just that it's, you know, who wants sinus drainage all the time, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's fallen too.
Yeah.
Now, are supplementally, are you doing anything for your adrenal glands?
I am doing a lot of supplements. I don't specifically know. I am doing a little ashwagandha.
Okay.
I am doing a little, I don't know, would melatonin be part for that or?
Well, melatonin does a lot of good stuff, but it wouldn't help that. Let me see here. Okay, so your overall heart score, which should be a 12, is a 3. Okay, when we fix the adrenal glands, it goes to the 12.
Okay,
So you need 5 adrenal complex caps and 1 ashwagandha a day.
okay,
Now, to give you an idea of how important the things that relate to heart energy are, your liver, for instance, is functioning at a, let's see, at a 4, but when we fix the heart energy, it jumps to 10, which is normal.
okay.
So
So you said 5 adrenal caps.
5, okay, so you would go 3 and 2, 3 for breakfast, 2 for lunch, or something like that, okay? And then 1 ashwagandha a day.
Okay,
Now, what
and
that's
then,
going to do is it's going to, because I think by your own words, you said something like everything seems to be slowing down. Okay, well, you're booting the system up now. And then now with all the other things you're doing, it's not just sitting there in stasis saying, please tell me what to do. Now there's energy for the cells to respond, the digestive system to work. So that's what makes this so important, okay? And so I would, you know, everything we do in 3-month increments. But honestly, I've been on adrenal support for 30 years. And
all
when I
right.
don't take
And
it,
is this standard process?
well, if you went standard process, you would use their desiccated whole adrenal. But you could use Solaray or you could use Dr. Christopher's, and it would still be the same number, 5 a day.
Okay, okay.
Right.
And then will that translate into more effective weight loss? Well, but you know what? You can't lose weight, folks, just so you know, because if you try to lose weight, guess what? You're going to find it again. So you do weight release.
Well, I mean, okay, again, here's the whole thing. If your liver should be functioning at a 10, see, the heart is 12, the brain is 16, but everything else is pretty much a 10 when it's normal. So if your liver is functioning at a 4, how could you ever lose weight? But if you plug it back in and it
Okay.
says it's going to function at a 10, well, then now you've removed an underlying thing that no matter what you did basically to lose weight, it's not going to work because you've got to have the energy to make everything happen.
Amen. Amen.
So,
okay.
Miss Sandra.
Thank you.
Hi, oh my gosh, this is so good. I love the RNA thing. I think I need that ASAP.
Well, we'll find out though.
And also, as I gave my testimony in church, in the ecclesia, I had a heart attack. And when they went in and did, I couldn't believe this was happening. They went in and did a cardiac cath. They found nothing, no blockage, no damage to the heart, none of that stuff. But they did find that I was leaking enzymes. That's how they knew I had a heart attack.
Okay.
So other than that, I'm fine. They let me out the hospital with just aspirin. But I want to take care of that stuff. I want to make sure that's okay. So that's
Okay, so I'm not trying to play doctor, but in this sense, because I'm a doctor of nutrition, okay? But you can't have a heart attack if there's no blockages except under extreme stress and a coronary artery spasm. Okay? I happen to have a reflex for coronary artery spasm. Let's find out what that is. Uh-oh. Should be a 10, it's a 2. I got to make notes, so.
oh,
But we have a solution.
okay.
Hang on. I got to write this stuff down because I'll forget it. Okay, so standard process has a product called Cataplex, Cataplex. Now they got about 100 cataplexes. E2, not B, E. E as in vitamin E. 2. You need 6 a day. You need 2 for breakfast, 2 for lunch, and 2 for dinner. It's going to nurture and relax your arteries. You could use this for angina and it would be better than nitroglycerin.
Aha.
Okay. So you need 6 Cataplex E2. Now, how would I know this stuff? Only because I've been around for a while. Okay.
Yep.
Now, here's what's interesting. All the rest of us normal folks, so you've been in heaven so much that you're not normal anymore. That's a good thing.
True.
Our hearts are like 1s and 2s. Yours is a 12, even though you had a heart problem. So it's not a normal nutritional thing. It's coming through your veins and arteries. Now, this is where you need to get with the seer ones, because I'm not a seer. Even when I wear my seer medallion, I do better. You got to find out if there's any attachment to the veins and arteries in some way that we don't know about. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe there's not.
Okay. If you hear a snoring, that's my dog. I just want everybody to know.
What's that?
If you hear a snoring, that's my dog.
Oh, I couldn't. Okay, so your circulation, which we know is fine everywhere in your body. Okay. So what else could it be? Now, let me ask you this. Why wouldn't the doctor wonder where the heart attack came from?
He did. As a matter of fact, I had 2 cardiologists come in and they're like baffled. Of course, I have your energy and your PM. I do forget to wear it sometimes, but I'm thinking that helped me in this process.
Did they say there was any damage?
No damage, no trauma to the heart, to the
Okay,
vessel.
so it's a coronary artery spasm and they missed it. They don't have anything for it, is my point, except nitroglycerin.
That's what they said.
But they're not going to give it to you. And you know why? Because you don't have any blockages, so their brain won't take them there.
Yes.
Now, here's what else I would do. Because you're like me, I'm really only 35, right?
Right, exactly.
But with a little knowledge.
My dad says 30 plus.
Yeah. We're like Jack Benny. We just keep rolling over Groundhog Day 39, right? I would also add to that another standard process product called Cyruta, Cyruta plus. Now be careful because there's a Cyruta but you need Cyruta Plus. That's also going to nurture your veins and arteries in a way that the E2 will regulate them, but the Cyruta will nurture those. And I'll tell you in a minute how many you need. 6 of those also. So I would do this for at least a year. 2 of each for breakfast, 2 of each for lunch, 2 of each for dinner, or around that time. And over time, you're going to see such a big difference. In fact, the funny thing about Cyruta Plus is if that's all I had in my cabinet and I had an infection, not like, you know, a boil or anything, but like this thing, I could take 10 Cyruta Plus a day. And because it works on an arterial level, it would move out a lot of the infection. Some people that would, if they even thought they were going into sepsis, they could take 10 or 15 Cyruta Plus a day and it would knock them out of that pretty quickly.
Wow.
So this is stuff they don't know about. But yeah, that's it. I mean, that's your deal. Thank God there was no damage. But,
Yes.
but the E2, you do need something is triggering spasming in your arterial system that they're not picking up on.
Okay. Okay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Mark and Monique. I hope it's
Mark
in
and Monique.
order.
That means Mark, then Monique?
I don't know. No, I mean the hands, because I don't know how to take them down.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, on the screen,
participant-
I'm going just like, okay, there was Sandra, then you, and then it'll be
Yep.
Claudia
In
next.
the
and, you know, we'll
participants
go down.
panel on the right, if you put your cursor there, there'll be an option to lower hand.
It's
All right.
it's good.
But that's
The
good.
people have covered it.
But that
themselves.
you've already done. Listen, the issue that I'm dealing with still is anxiety, just going off the charts. I'm categorizing as various different sorts of anxiety. Sometimes it's panic attacks, sometimes it's just general anxiety. But it's inconsistent. We are in a very stressful stage of our life, being in Australia in a house where we've told we have to sell all our possessions. So there is stress involved there, but it's inconsistent, and you know we have blowouts every now and then where it's the anxiety just goes off the charts. And yeah, look, there are other things there. There could be biochemical stuff as well. So that's sort of the issue I was bringing to the table.
Okay, well, one of the things that I wouldn't be able to do on this level would be, we're starting to find out that there are ties in the spirit realm that we didn't know existed. For instance, every time I'd run into Stephanie, she'd say, Doc, you got to go through the Masonic book. I said, Stephanie, either my testing works or it doesn't. There are no levels that are showing up. However, through my knowing in the spirit, I am sensing something Masonic. So you're not wrong. Okay. Well, we discovered that there is some overriding level. We discovered this like a month ago, Masonic thing. And then guess what? This thing that Dr. Ron came out with this week, that solved the problem.
Right.
Okay. So because, I hope y'all are listening to this, because instead of making statements as they go through level by level and cursing families and doing all this stuff, there is also something to be said for the act that they do that gets them to that point. So the act was acting as an umbrella, throwing curses out that was disassociated from the individual levels. We never knew that. Now we know. Okay. So, because I mean, that helped me tremendously. I mean, it just like, I started getting better from the sinus infection once I went through the 13 pages, you know, and it was hanging on and hanging on. So, and we cannot find any Masons in our family, but with Henry VII being my 16th great grandfather, they were all pervs. So, I mean, what can I say? You know, what are you going to do? And that he wasn't the only one. I'm related to half of Europe. So it's like, ugh. I appreciate my new body, my, new creation in Christ way better than any of that stuff, let me tell you. So in other words, you're putting me under stress, Mark.
Oh, I hope I'm not making you anxious.
No.
So what I'm hearing though is that you're sensing there's something Freemasonry in there that may be affecting things or muddying the waters. Is that right?
It's not a physical thing.
Okay.
I'm not
that's
picking
good
up
then.
anything on the physical level.
Okay.
So,
good.
so what we're doing is we're just kind of, how you just troubleshoot out loud and say, okay, we're learning that there's spin-offs that they use as a stealthy way to still mess with us. But because it doesn't conform to what we think we know, we dismiss it and think, well, it's got to be because, I ate too many prunes yesterday and it just trashed everything and everything's tightening up. Two things nutritionally that you would always want to watch is you would want to watch your magnesium and your potassium. Okay. If you have the time, and I'm not saying you do, but remember the RDA for potassium is 4.6 grams, which is 4,600 milligrams. You want to have a little fun, go through the foods that you eat on a regular basis and try to come up with a composite and find out how short you are.
Okay.
So if you're 1,500 milligrams short, 2,000 milligrams, potassium and magnesium and calcium work synergistically. Probably you might, this is really strange, but many of you know that I've had digestive issues for years, okay? Recently, they're starting to get better, but even though I go into the doctor and my blood tests show that my magnesium is perfect, my potassium is perfect, on a tissue level, it's like 10%. That's kind of like hydroacoustics, but on a nutritional level, okay? I'm having to take as many as 2,500 milligrams of magnesium a day. And at times, the doctors would freak out, but I'm only absorbing out of that 2,500, 500 of it. The rest of it, because my kidneys are fine, is going out through elimination, okay? So that could help a little bit, but this definitely has a spiritual. In fact, I'm pausing for a moment. Wait a minute, maybe, and I don't mean to be funny by this. My wife says I'm only funny by accident, but I'm holding my seer medallion here, okay? And so I'm definitely seeing something in the spirit. Now remember, I know, but then I call it seeing. What is it? What is it you're showing me, Lord? Somebody somewhere, I don't want to say that this person is alive because I don't know whether they are or not, is speaking this word that you cannot do this thing.
Right.
Kind of like a grandfather would say, you're just always going to be stupid because you're not my favorite grandson.
Right.
It's that kind of a thing. I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. If it's strictly in the spirit, but I'm seeing somebody trying to, and it's funny because it's like they're standing several generations back.
Right.
And they're speaking specifically to you because you haven't even scratched the surface of what God wants to do with you yet. So you got to get, so they got to knock us out before we start making our medallions. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know you all see the way that you all see, just take that in prayer because I'm seeing a figure of an individual off in the background. Somehow their words are doing something and trying to create chaos around you. And probably because you're so sensitive, your body, soul, and spirit are picking it up.
Yes.
I went down the beach a couple of days ago and basically I had the same experience. So I haven't identified who it is, but that confirms what I have been getting as well. So I'll keep praying into that.
It kind of like looks like somebody from the Elizabethan area with the big beard, the bushy beards. And a
I know
little
several
bit.
pastors like that.
What's that?
I know several pastors like that in Australia. It's a very
well, but this person has the hair to go with it, but I'm only seeing it in grayscale, so I can't tell you, any more than that. So
that's good. That's very valuable though. Thank you, Doc.
Okay, no problem. Miss Claudia.
Isn't it Monique's turn?
Oh, Monique, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Yes, Monique, go ahead. Go ahead. I've got my whole night set aside, and plus it's still morning by you guys, so you can go all day, right?
We can go all day.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Miss Monique, I am sorry. Go ahead.
I think right now I think everything, I feel like things are off kilter just because we are under a massive amount of stress to have everything gone and we fly out May 1. So there's like such a load of stress. So my body's not necessarily going to read anything. But presently, I just have a really lot of period pain, and I've been really struggling with the whole menopausal, missed a couple months, and then now I have a really bad, like, bleeding right now is really bad. So I'm just in a world of pain, and I don't know if there's anything to do about that other than just ride out this storm.
Okay, so the way that I would do this, and I've got a master sheet. I haven't even counted, but I've got like maybe 80, 90, 100 things on it. I don't know. One of the things is to test the female area or the male area. Okay, so there is a master reflex, and then there's one for the ovaries and the uterus. And even if somebody's had a hysterectomy, it doesn't matter. You still need the nutrition, or else you're going to wear your adrenal glands out, because the adrenals make the extra hormones that we need, both male and female. Okay, so here's the question then. Okay, so what's happened? I don't know what you have access to in Australia, but you're going to fly back to Canada on May 1.
Yep.
Okay. So I know it might be expensive even in Canada, but they certainly have adrenal support somewhere, whether it's Australia or Canada, right? You need at least 3 adrenal support caps a day and probably 1 ashwagandha. Now, here's what's interesting. On all your female reflexes, they should be 10s, and they're each 1. But just by taking the 3 adrenal caps and the ashwagandha, 2 of them jump to an 8 and 1 of them jumps to a 9, with 10 being normal.
So before we came here, I actually shipped the solar adrenal caps to here.
Okay, have you been taking them?
If I have to ship them to Canada, I may as well ship them here. So I have been taking them, but not regularly. But I've been doing 2 and 2. So
okay, well that's fine.
In the busyness, we've been missing a few days. Like every now and then, I'll get either the afternoon one or I'll get the morning one. So I haven't necessarily been getting it quite consistently.
Okay, so look at it this way.
Try to get more regular.
The adrenal glands are the stress glands of the body, no matter what. So if you're under extra stress because of all the stuff you've got going on, instead of just the normal bodily functions, now you've got all this stuff bearing down on you. It's putting extra pressure on the adrenals. You stay with the 2 times 2, then try to maybe throw in an ashwagandha. Please don't miss any if possible. And then over time, it's going to switch the adrenal glands away from having to make the extra hormones, putting extra pressure on them. And then your body will just pick up on its own. And then because it's still kind of close now, when you guys get back, make sure you get a hold of me and we can take a look at the female aspect, because there's 3 standard processed products, or maybe something like maca or something like that you can take to kind of bolster the female part. Anyway, a couple maca capsules a day or something like that, but standard process, I would know exactly what to tell you. So, but yeah, that's what's going on. So it's become a vicious cycle. It's not exactly a double bind, but maybe we need to have a prayer for a vicious cycle, guys. Everybody agree on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Miss Claudia now. You're welcome.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, thank you. So I've been dealing with some thyroid issues for a while.
Okay.
And then when trying to find out the source of those issues, I've been doing cleansing stuff, and now dealing with menopause symptoms. So low energy, gain weight, memory issues, cortisol is high.
Now, for cortisol, 1 cup of green tea a day. That's for
Okay.
everybody. You actually only need a half a cup, but if you take 1 cup of green tea, it wipes out cortisol for almost 24 hours. So I just thrown that in there. But anyway, keep going.
Mhm. And also trying to do some more liver support.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so
circulation, I think, varicose veins,
okay. Okay,
a
so
whole host of stuff.
here's what I would say. Like I said, I'll help you with one thing. This is going to be a big thing, but you
Mhm.
do have some circulation issues. You do need to get a hold of me and probably do a full nutritional workup because we have herbs that clean out veins and arteries. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but what are you doing for thyroid T3?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay, because here's the dilemma that I'm in at the moment. If you're doing other things for your thyroid, they would cover up possible other thyroid weaknesses, but the good news is they're working. But the T3 is your metabolic aspect of the thyroid. Weight loss. Also, thyroid messes with the memory.
Mhm.
If you don't know what have we been talking about all night, everybody? If the heart energy is down, nothing's going to work right. The kidneys aren't going to work right. The bowel's going to move sluggishly. The liver's going to back up. You got to have all those things balanced.
Okay.
Okay. If they're not, it's not going to work. So, my mind just went blank.
You
Standard.
said T3?
No, not the T3. I was trying to think about what it was that I needed for that, but hang on a second. I think I can figure it out. Okay. Standard Process has a product called Iodomere. 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 You need 3 a day. The only problem is that they're getting this form of iodine from seafood. So if you're allergic to seafood, you can't use it. But if you're not, you're okay. That's going to change a lot of the stuff, and you only need 3 a day. So maybe 2 for breakfast, 1 for lunch. Uh-oh. Now it's saying my internet is unstable. I hope that is.
Yeah, I lost that the last sentence.
Okay. So hopefully that doesn't continue because we usually don't have internet problems here. So as long as you're not allergic to shellfish or anything like that, Iodomere at 3 a day, 2 for breakfast, 1 for lunch. And you would be in the category that I would recommend that you get a hold of me for a full workup, okay? Because we need to fix a few other things.
Okay.
All right. But
And
that's
how
going
do
to
I-
help your immediate problem, though.
How do I reach to you?
You can go to my website, which is my name, nickname, DocRodich.com, and just choose the nutritional side unless you want to do the combo deal where I do all the spiritual tests. There is a discount there as well.
Okay.
But I mean, it takes me hours to do the tests, and believe me, everybody, it takes at least 90 minutes to get through them, doesn't it? If you've had it done, you know what I'm talking about. So, all right, Miss Lisby.
Found the unmute button. I had knee surgery last January, and
Okay.
when I was in, they said that I was throwing PVCs, or the heart arrhythmia stuff, and I'm pretty sure that it's evened out now, but I would be interested to see how my heart/adrenals are doing.
Okay. Well, I've had PVCs for over 30 years, and I found out that the main reason is cellular magnesium.
Mhm.
Now, the good news is I've lived long enough that they finally have an operation they can do for PVCs. And when this started with me, they didn't do it. But they won't do it on me because you've got to be at least in 10%. And I'm at like
Mhm.
0.1%, 0.1, like 1/10 of 1%, because I've been able
Got
to control them so well. And no thank you
Yeah.
to the medical doctors and cardiologists. Hey, you all have to laugh with me here, okay? So I'm at my cardiologist last year. I said, Doc, all the billions of dollars that has been thrown toward cardiovascular research, please tell me that you have something better than the Tenolol after me being on it for 30 years that will take care of PVCs. And he puts his head down and says, no. I said, that's not very encouraging. So God's got to show us these things. Amen.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see where you're at here. Okay.
Did you need me to talk more?
No, you're fine. Well, your adrenals do need a little support. But whether that's going to be the PVCs, what are you taking for magnesium?
I've been taking intermittent. It's over there. Hold on a minute. It was just over the counter.
All right, so
Magnesium citrate, 250 milligrams. But I've been taking it intermittently.
okay, yeah. You need it. Okay, you know what magnesium glycinate is? What do you got there? Citrate? Ah, it's garbage. Sorry, that's Walmart
That's
stuff.
okay. They
Find
said take
magnesium
magnesium.
glycinate. 500 milligrams and take 2 a day. Okay. Now also take adrenal caps 2 a day and ashwagandha 1 a day, but that's not what's causing the PVCs. Okay. Now here's the other thing we got to look for. Okay, your potassium should be at 10. It's a 2. You're probably averaging 800 to 1200 milligrams a day from your food if you're lucky. You need to go to a place called crampade.com, KRAMPADE.com. It is a 2000 milligrams per scoop drink that you pour in your water or whatever. You need to take a little over half a scoop a day, put it in your water, and that I would stay on indefinitely, because none of us are getting anywhere near close to the potassium that we need, folks. It's just not happening, okay? But at crampade.com, you can get 8 of their bags of drag mix for the same price that they sell the same thing for 3 on Amazon. So I order 8 at a time, and it's the same price as 3 on Amazon. So a little over half a scoop. You need 1000 milligrams. You want to get back with me after a couple of months, because we don't want to like nuke you on magnesium. But I'm guessing that on your cellular level, it's next to nothing. Okay. And the two adrenal caps and 1 ashwagandha, but that's not what's causing your PVCs. It's a mineral deficiency.
Mineral deficiency. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Miss Thea.
Oh, did you want to say something, Mom?
What's that?
Sorry.
I was just asking Mom if she wanted to
Forgot
say
Di.
something.
Oh, okay, Mom. You want to do something?
I don't think I have any health issues, not that I'm aware of. I take thyroid meds, have for 20 years, same dose for 20 years.
All right. Well, I'll just do a little something on the sly here and let you know if I find anything. So just give me a moment to pause, okay? Okay. All right. Everything's pretty good. We've got just a little tiny bit of hardening of the arteries going on, but nothing to worry about at the moment, okay? So maybe 35 or 40 years from now, you can get back a hold of me Hey, I'm supposed to live to be 400, so I'm going to be around.
I just
Y'all
thank
think I'm
Jesus every
joking,
day
but
for my
Ben
healthy
told me,
body.
so
I'm
if Ben
fine.
says it, that has to be it. Okay. But he's not the only one, by the way. So okay. No, you're in good shape. Your heart's fine. The thyroid medication is working, or whatever you're doing. So yeah, you're good. You're good. All right, Miss Thea.
Hello there. I apologize for sound quality and the halo around my head. I'm at
Yeah,
Bangkok
I thought it was
Airport.
angels.
I thought I would have loved for it to be angels, but this is Bangkok Airport.
Hey, did
I
y'all
made
see
an
the big warrior angel that they filmed over Israel? You didn't see
I've
that
been offline
on
for a while.
TikTok or whatever that thing is? Oh my gosh. This unbelievable cape, and then all these, I mean, it was like it had to be Michael or some dude like that, because I mean, it's like nothing I've ever, so it was either the best CGI fake hologram stuff that the government's doing, or it was a real angel, but it was really cool. So
All right. Okay. And I was offline. I had to move countries, sort of an escape. So I just want to say something. There's a thread here of women through menopause. Now, can I throw in my 2 cents worth? I'm 63 years old. I went through menopause at the age of 60. Baffling, but there, it's true. And I had no confidence in the doctors because they all had the same ideas. I tried supplements, and I'm studious by nature. I did a good job, but they helped me a lot with anxiety, by the way, Mark. I took several things for anxiety that lowered it, so I discovered it in menopause. But ladies, just find a bio-identical doctor who will give you HRT. Nothing did for me, not all the prayers and travails, not all the supplements, but good old bio-identical HRT did for me, put me right back on track. Just want to say it, it's common in North America to avoid it. That women's health study in 2002 or 3 was utter nonsense. You don't get cancer from it. Just saying, just so. But Doc, I have an issue that I've had for about a quarter of a century. And I have tried many, many things, and it's progressed. It became progressively worse, and it's insomnia. Now, I am the daughter of an insomniac. I cut that off. I went through Mithraism and Freemasonry, and I dealt with it, and I was very precise when I got to the tables that said insomnia, yeah? But in 24 years ago, when I went to Taiwan, I suddenly developed a pattern of insomnia. I didn't have until then. So that was obviously a very traumatic country to move to. I've dealt with the trauma as I understand it. I mean, I have fond memories now. And then it increased again when I went through menopause. That was the horror. That's when I realized I think I've either several diseases at once. I'm going through something called menopause because it wasn't talked about in my culture. And then I brought that under control as in managed it, not walked free. And then last year, I saw that in my sleep journal. I keep a sleep journal so that I don't become addicted to whatever I have to use to sleep regularly. And last year, September, I fell and cracked my ribs in Canada. And Canada was a very traumatic experience for me, I must say. It's not a culture that took us in. There was a lot of resistance in the spirit realm. And I see that's when my insomnia deepened again, even though I'd recovered in a large way from menopause, and thank God, and supplements and HRT for that. I do take, Doc is going to ask me next.
Uh-oh, did she freeze? Okay. We'll wait for her to come back on. I did find something, so I don't know if she can hear me in her situation, but not if she's frozen. Okay, I'll set hers aside. Go ahead, Rachel. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. Okay. Well, I have bloating that's going on, bloating and stool issues that I can't shake.
Okay.
And weight, but it might all be connected.
Well, whatever it is, it's not normal. Okay, so I have Lyme disease, Epstein-Barr, cancer, strep, staph, flu, virus, fungus, yeast, parasites to choose from, and none of those are showing positive. Your heart energy is a 12. All your normal, like organic functions like liver, bile duct, gallbladder, pancreas, all are 10s.
Well, it's because I went through your program already. And I wear all your medallions.
So you
Spiritual.
isn't tonight the night of your team?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to suggest that you get your team on call and say, let us find out what this spiritual issue is, because if it is something physical, it's something that is not on my radar.
Yeah.
Okay,
I kind of thought it was. I thought it was spiritual.
I mean, there's just, I mean, and you know, I mean, obviously, if something turns out, guys and gals, to be like really super personal, don't share it with us, except for in generalities. But there are things that we're trying to learn. And so if you come across like, you know, like this new thing with Masonic stuff that is setting people free that Dr. Ron came up with in his group, this, you could end up saving somebody's life just by sharing your testimony. Okay. So, okay, great. So yeah, you got nothing from me, sorry.
Hi.
Right. Now, Leslie, did we do one thing for you already?
Yeah, I really just have a question. I have my left knee I injured when I was 25, so 40 years ago. And it's bone on bone. And I don't know if they put me on a prescription medicine, and I haven't taken prescription anything in 40 years, So I'm only going to take it for the 3 months. And is there anything you do other than knee surgery and have your body rebuilt?
I keep hearing that there's some new thing that somebody's come out with for the knee, but I can't really speak to that. But the old-timey remedy that I remember is, and some of you ladies are going to have to help me with this, is the stuff that they make, like Jello makes gelatin out of. There's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's pig's bones, or
Okay,
gelatin.
so you take a certain amount of that, and supposedly it's almost bioidentical to
collagen.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that I've ever heard of.
Video.
Thank you. I just heard that for a second time. Because I used to take glucosamine chondroitin, and it didn't seem to do anything.
So,
video.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Thea, are you back on?
Yes, I'm back. I'm back on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll try to get done with everybody here in a minute, but here's what I found. I know you've done tons of stuff, but you're in Canada, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I'm actually at the moment in Bangkok, so I'm in Canada, but I've just left Canada. I'm physically now in Bangkok.
So you're like in another part of the world. Okay. So
yes.
The same thing for someone else. Your thyroid T3 is not functioning correctly. You would need 4 iodomir a day from Standard Process. I don't even know if that's available in Canada when you get back. Probably not. Maybe the next closest thing might be alfalfa tablets, 4 to 6 a day. But you need, or you can go to GNC. Do they have GNCs in Canada? Get
I have
whatever,
no idea.
Yeah, get whatever their muscle building thing is that has a bunch of T3 in it, and kind of play around with the dosage. And because you need to boost your T3, but believe it or not, the fact that your T3 has dipped is tying directly into the insomnia.
Okay, my T3. I'll try and remember because Lawrence is fiddling with bags to get pens and papers. So is there any way, can I maybe ask Rachel Testa, because she's on the call and she has my email, if she can just write this down for me and email it, because I have no idea how to write this down with my bags surrounding me. Doc, can I just ask you something? I also take phosphatidylserine. Would that help?
What I didn't understand what you said.
PS 100, phosphatidylserine. I take that at night as well.
Oh, phosphate. Yeah, I mean, I know what it is, but that is not going to address the thyroid T3 issue.
Okay. All right. So the thyroid T3 issue, I'll remember that. I'll look into
So
that.
what was the
Thank you so
supplement,
much.
Doc? I'll write it down. What was the supplement?
Okay, so it's from Standard Process. It's called Iodomere, IODOMERE, at 4 a day. Possibly alfalfa tablets would be something if that was available in Canada. But T3 is the one that's our metabolic stuff. Everything else has to do with other things for thyroid, but T3 is what keeps, that's why none of us looked bad when we were teenagers.
So would T3 be inherited disaster or is it diet related?
Well, I mean, who knows what causes it all to go south? I mean, once the cycle gets started, it's almost, if medical doctors can't track it down, I don't know if I can. But we know it's there. So, okay, now all I see is fire tablet, so I don't have a name. Okay.
How much alfalfa, Doc?
My name is Kay, and I don't know
what you got, kiddo?
Lymphedema. My arm's been swollen for since 18. My lumpectomy back in 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can find here.
Thank you so much.
Okay, what other areas of the body was that affecting?
Well, it breast cancer, and then in the groin area because lymph nodes, right? So they did take several lymph nodes when they did the lumpectomy.
Well, I mean, I hope they've told you that the cancer was successful, because I'm not picking up cancer at this time.
Cool.
And I know that's what you're not asking me that, but I'm not picking that up.
Right.
Okay. Because I got to go through a sequence of things to try to find something.
Being treated for cancer, I'm on medications for cancer. But yeah, praise the Lord.
Okay, now so typically speaking, cancer is a situation where the body becomes very acidic and then the cells turn into metastasis. Okay.
Yeah.
And they do it actually to try to keep a person alive longer, but it ends up killing them because they're all, that's the body's just way out of control. Usually there's parasites involved, there's yeast involved, there's fungus involved, almost always. Okay. So, I've helped people with different things through the years. I can only throw out what I can draw from my knowledge base. Obviously, we want to kill parasites. There's teas that work. I know we recently lost somebody in our church family to prostate cancer. What we can't help is if there's any spiritual background that hasn't been dealt with, okay? Because Dr. Rom's group can, of course. But as far as, I would probably be tempted to tell you that a good place to start, because this would require a lot more in-depth work.
Okay.
But Standard Process has a product called Zymex 2, ZYMEX, Roman numeral 2. Okay, now, You take 2 of those capsules 3 times a day directly in between meals. So if you eat at 8 in the morning and noon, you'd want to take it at 10.
Right.
Okay. It's not going to be cheap. It's going to cost a couple $100, but it's going to digest. Taking them 2 capsules 3 times a day on an empty stomach, it's going to digest parasites over a 3-month segment. You got to catch several hatching cycles. That would
Okay.
be a great place to start to knock one of the legs out, no matter what else is going on. Even if you need adrenal help, or you need this, or you need that, that is a great place to start. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and like anything else, it may turn out that just by killing the parasites, 10 other things straighten out. I mean, I've seen it happen.
Man,
I mean,
I'd love that.
and to go any deeper, obviously I would have to spend way more time than what we've got here. And and I would want to do it more on a professional level. But okay, did we make it through, everybody? I know some, looks like a
Doc,
couple have left. Okay.
my friend Jane Ruth, she's been trying to join this whole meeting, and I think she just got on.
Okay,
Would you be able to do one more?
sure. Hey, I'm already 45 minutes past. What's 5 more minutes, right? I hope we don't break YouTube when I load this on.
Jane, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, but I don't know if you can hear me.
We hear you.
We can.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I don't know if you can see me either, but
Well,
No,
we
but
can't
that's
see
okay.
you though.
well, that's okay. I don't mind if you can't see me, but
All right. So
I'm
what's your one thing that you want me to try to trace through?
well, I've been having balance problems and I've been having diabetes. I've been falling and I've had eyesight issues.
Okay.
Neuropathy.
Well, now I said one thing. That's like 5 so far.
I know, but it's all kind of one big ball of wax because
Okay.
it's like the neuropathy, the retinopathy, it's all kind of one big ball of wax.
Well, are you on any kind of like glucophage or any of those things for your diabetes?
No.
Are you taking medication for your diabetes?
He's testing.
What's that?
Are you taking medication for the diabetes?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
How long have you been on that?
The medication has changed and gotten less and less, but I've tried to replace the medication with food, healthier food. But it hasn't been completely successful in terms of I've been diagnosed as diabetic since January of '99.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But I used to weigh 480 and now I weigh 280.
Okay, so this is what well, first of all, you definitely would be a person that you need to do a full workup, okay?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So there's no question about that. But my gut feeling is on this, and actually it's more than a gut feeling because I can test, is what's happened is you've been on the medication so long that it's already starting to have the deterioration effects on your body.
Yes.
So the way that I would approach this, and again, it really helps if the Lord gets involved, and I'm sure that that's what you're praying for and everything. But we've got to see how much we can bring your pancreas back. but you would have to do something like take Cyruta Plus to nurture your veins and arteries and get them back going. You probably have plaquing somewhere, so we've got to get your veins and arteries cleaned up. I'm sure your adrenal glands and maybe even something else needs nurturing. So what we would have to do is we would have to build you from the foundation up, so to speak. And that would be the way to approach that. And so because for instance, the neuropathy is there because of poor circulation, and the poor circulation is there because your veins and arteries are wearing out because of the medication. And so it's throwing inner tube patches out that creates clogging of veins and arteries, but also creates neuropathy. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, one of the things that has happened is that I have experienced alopecia because I have done fasting.
Right. Well, yeah, and who knows what that triggered? I mean, it could be. So, you know, in the traditional ways of when I did this thing, you would probably be, whereas most of my folks, we get them straightened out within 3 months, every once in a while 6. You would be probably a 9-month to a 12-month client.
Right.
Okay. And
right.
Just do the nutritional side, and then we would have to probably start slow, you know, because you don't want to go to 0 to 100 overnight.
Right.
But you know, the first thing that I would want to do is I would probably want to get your veins and arteries cleaned out and get your adrenal glands strengthened, and then we would start working on rebuilding your pancreas.
Right.
And
well,
and it can be rebuilt, but we just don't know how much. Even at, you know, right now you're at like 10%, which means you're non-functional. But if we could get you to 60 or 70% with nutrition over a year and a quarter or something like that, then it would reduce the amount of medication needed, which would then in turn have less caustic effect on your veins and arteries.
Right.
So that would be my recommendation. I mean, because right now, I mean, even if we got you feeling a little better, it's a vicious cycle that you're in. There's just no other way to tell you than that. You know, why not be honest and loving at the same time? But is it something that likely, you know, would I be too offensive to ask you how old you are?
No, not at all. I just turned 65.
Well, you're still a kid.
Right. One of the most problematic things is that I've spent most of my life helping everybody else.
Yes.
You know, and right now I have like 4 teeth that are still my own, and I've had this issue with tooth decay, and I haven't been able to fix that problem, you know, financially. I've been paying out of pocket trying to get my teeth taken care of.
I can certainly understand that.
That's really an issue, because now my insurance company will take the teeth out, but they won't do anything to fix the rest of it. I used to have, you know, lots and lots and lots of pharmaceutical medications that I was taking because of a bipolar diagnosis. And praise God, you know, I don't have nearly the mood disorders that I did because of saturating myself in the word. But anyway, there are a lot of things that have changed. But I'm eating a much healthier diet.
Wonderful.
And, you know, I never used to drink water. You know, I used to have a lot of diet dew in my water system or my blood system. now, you know, I have a water.
Oh yes, Jane, tell him about the medallions. Tell him about the
Oh.
medallion, the change.
The change in the medallions has been incredible. I never used to be able to sleep at night. I've been able to sleep at night. There have been some phenomenal things that have changed. My mother was going to be a missionary in Africa, and I actually had a very strange thing that happened over Easter. Actually, my cleaning closet rod fell down on this is kind of quirky. I know it's kind of otherworldly, but the cleaning closet rod fell down over uh, what do you call it? Good Friday. And I never used to be able to communicate at all. So for me to do anything, you know, that is verbal is amazing to me. But I heard this thing on the Daily Audio Bible where this African woman, which my mother was going to be a missionary to Africa, and she could never seemingly communicate any love or, you know, anything to me. And this African voice came on to the Daily Audio Bible and said, God wants me to make it clear that you are loved and that all your needs are provided for, and that everything that you need right now is going to be taken care of.
Wonderful.
And it was so amazing to me that for the first time in my life, I felt as though all the burdens that I had in my life were completely lifted, and I felt the love of God. And
Wow.
it was like I had physical, spiritual, religious. I mean, from the time that I was 9 months old, I had had physical abuse, and 8 years old, I had been sexually abused in vacation Bible school by the preacher's teenage son, and on and on and on. There had been all kinds of abuse, and all that had stood in the way of me. I had analyzed, mentally, tried to figure out how to analyze God's love. And that had been totally lifted. And for the first time in my life, wearing these medallions, and I had used crystals in the past, but I could never feel the love of God until this happened. And I could never biochemically accept the feeling of God's love, and yet my biochemical life changed around so that I would change what was happening in my life. It was amazing.
Well, that's a tremendous testimony. Well, we're going to have to wrap it up, mainly because I know Rachel and some of the other ones, they actually have another Zoom that starts in a half an hour from right now.
Thank you very
because
much.
it's 10:30 Eastern, and you can get with Rachel. She can tell you how to get a hold of me. But again, you know, as we wrap things up tonight, it's really encouraging, because when you know God is really in control, but He's the one that's doing things. And
right.
one of the greatest things is that we have to learn to get out of the way sometimes, and He'll pick each one of us, and He's given us a certain skill set, but sometimes we have to take some time to work on ourselves first. And you know, I had a fellow years ago tell me, "Hey, I can do marriage counseling because I've been married 16 times." You know, you know, so you know, I mean, it was really like 8, but you know, it's like, yeah, so you can tell everybody about the failures, but you know, what did you really learn? And, you know, the answer was he was a jokester. Okay. But, you know, sometimes we have to focus on ourselves, get cleaned up on every level, nutritionally, spiritually, and then all of a sudden, like a wonderful plant that just blossoms in the spring with the right amount of nurturing and water, all of a sudden this beautiful creation comes forth. And that's what the enemy has been working every moment of our life to keep us from getting to that point, everybody. And you're in good hands. You know, we all are, because, you know, we're helping each other out and the testimonies and everything. And now let me just, as I close tonight, because we do have to let some of these folks go, but I am getting so incredibly busy that I think what we're going to do for the Wellness Roundtable is to do it on a quarterly basis. That way I can make it way more significant instead of, because, you know, 1 month, you know how it is with the way we think, well, he's going to do it next month. I'll wait till next month. And then nobody gets on, you know, so, you know, but the problem is the next quarter would be July 4th on a Thursday. Well, nobody's going to be on this on July 4th. So it's going to be the following Thursday after that, which is like the 11th or something like that. And so you'll be getting messages from me, you know, just look on Facebook and things like that. And feel free to email me at doc. Now, it's not like my website, docrodich.com. It's doc.rodich@gmail.com. And if you've got any topics, any ideas, you want to submit a testimony, I'd love to have them, because I have a web person that's just begging me for more and more testimonies, you know, on the medallions and different things. So just be sure to send some my way. So with that, I want to just bless every one of you. Thank you for being on the program, and God bless you all. And I'm sure we'll see most of you real soon. So have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you. Very informative. Very fun. Have a lovely evening. Good night, everybody.
Amen.
God bless you.
So much. This is